Hey guys, welcome back. Another video. Been a little while, but I saved a good one. I'm not alone this time. I'm not talking to a camera alone this time. I'm actually talking to someone. So this is Collect Pokemon. He runs another YouTube channel, way bigger than mine, but he gave me the time of day to ask him some questions, interviews, have a good little conversation about just everything from what's happening in Japan with the whole Terrestrial Festival, as well as what has happened in the past like 2 years, a year and a half in Japan with all the boom and everything. But we'll get into it. I've been watching you collect Pokemon for a good while. I remember, oh man, I remember doing one of your not first videos, but one of the things that got me into watching you everything, some of your takes. As you can just glance at some of your comment sections, there's a lot of mixed feelings that happen sometimes in some of your videos. Some people are like, "Oh, what the heck? This guy's just scalping or whatever," and the other point of view is like, "Oh, you have your really good insight and everything." And you always see it must be hard on you sometimes. Maybe you just block that stuff out. But everyone who has like a negative thought to say about you, they explain it. They put it in the comments, whatever. But the positive comments don't really come as people are not willing to put a positive comment on the video than a negative comment. So that can be very it can be put you in a mind space. But yeah, one of the first videos I watched, you talked about the Hidden Fates premium ultra premium box with the Rayquaza in it and everything. Yeah, I was like, oh wow, this guy has some really good insight because you've been in the game forever. Since 2016?
16, yeah, 2016.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, you've been for quite, and you were talking about just in your previous video about you buying the Mario Pikachu boxes at like $20 a pop, and I actually, I actually have bought some just right here. Obviously, I opened them because why not?
Make sure you open them. A lot of them are resealed now.
Yes, that's a huge thing because I posted. I don't know if you know, and I'm a big promoter of E4. I don't know if you know E4.
Yeah, the SM Pratt era.
Yeah, the the SM Pratt era. Yes. So I posted on. I'm like I said, I'm a big advocate, and I do a bunch of a big event called the Signature Exchange every single year with them because it's a really cool community, everything. But regardless, so I posted on the forum. I was like, hey, is this resealed and all that kind of stuff, and then it got into a whole bunch of debate of like, oh man, everyone's talking about resales nowadays that like a year or 2 or 3 years ago, no one was talking about resales, especially on like these boxes for a long time sat at like $100, $200, whatever. Then 2020 happened, and even prior, 2019, and they just went crazy. I bought 2 sets. The first set I bought at, I think it was 50, or was it 5,500, and then the second set I bought at 6,000. And I actually, funny enough, you're in Hong Kong, and that's a big, I was like, these are the best promotions that have ever been around. And when I got them in, I was so nervous, like, okay, are these resealed? Like, what's going on? All that kind of stuff. And I was like opening up and thinking. I did a whole video on it. It's actually on my channel, but I did a whole video on it, and thankfully they were not resealed. I graded them. All came back PSE 10. It's funny you're in China, Hong Kong, but China or a Chinese guy reached out to me and bought them for like, I think he PayPal'd me like 16,900 for the whole PSA 10 set, which was like right at the peak, because that was like cash, in eBay terms, that would be like a $20,000 sale. But regardless, I talk about stuff all day. But I wanted to first talk about collect Pokemon. You've been running this YouTube channel, I'm guessing since you like 2019, 2018.
26, I think end of 2016.
End of 2016. End of 2016. Okay, so quite a while, and you've been putting out pretty constant videos about your takes, your introspective views on the market, and especially obviously Japanese. And with that, how do you start? I wanted to talk about the business side of things with you. yeah, with your business, how did you create, or like, oh man, I want to go into Pokemon, I want to do a Pokemon business, and just go full fledged of what you ended up doing. So I just wanted to pick your brain on that, on how you started collect Pokemon in the business and how it's going to today. And is it the same as you started it, and how has it evolved?
Okay, so thank you, Slade, for having me on the channel. So it's been a really long time since I did a collab. I think the last one was with Crystal Collect, and we were just opening cards. So yeah, so this is the first time I've been doing this. So if I go a little weird, I go a little dead. Don't mind me. So my business I actually started out as a collector. Actually, I started looking into Pokemon cards again, and this was the time when the Magikarp and Gyarados Poncho Pikachu were released.
Wow.
So that was around that time. I missed that box. So when I flew to Japan, because I go to Japan quite regularly, maybe like 2 or 3 times a year, just for like a holiday thing, because it's so close to Hong Kong. It's like a 4-hour flight. Just hop on, hop off, these sort of stuff. Basically, I went to Pokemon Center. I saw the Charizard Poncho box. It was there, available. All you can buy. It's like a buffet of Charizard boxes. So, I bought a bunch, and I still remember reselling them. You could actually resell a lot of them on Troy and Toad. So Troy and Toad actually had a buy list back then. And so basically, you just send it to a buy list, buy it in Japan, and then send it off. And I mean, you do make a few $100 from there. It's not a lot of money, but back then it does seem a lot of money. I mean, I was a flipper,
dirty scalper flipper. Oh, how dare you?
Yeah.
How dare you do this for profit?
Scalper, because it was all there, but definitely a flipper. So, and then I got back, and then I bought some extra boxes. I still have some seal box right now of that Charizard, and that's that. And then I started to look into English Pokemon cards, because I was like, I mean, at least it's a language I could read, so might as well. So I started looking, and I one set came across to me called Legendary Collection.
Oh, Legendary
Collection, of
course.
the Legendary Collection. I don't know, like some people say it's fake or whatever, and it doesn't look good. I'm like, oh, great, this looks amazing. Yeah.
I am lucky enough to own a Mewtwo Legendary Collection PSA 10 Reverse Holo. Yeah, so it's like one of 43. It's like my favorite card because it's not only illustrated by Christopher Rush, who's one of the very, very few English, Magic the Gathering, Black Lotus, but also, I love fireworks. This card is amazing. I worked at a fireworks store for a good bit of time. I love Mewtwo, obviously. And just it's all wrapped up in this card, and this is one of my probably top 4 cards, and that's what I wanted to get into later. Like
it's only 43 right now. There's only 43 in the world.
PSA 10, I believe so. It's below 50, and last time I checked, it was like 42, 43, something like that. The pop is extremely low, obviously because of the holo foil.
That makes us brother. I have the same card at PSA 10.
You have the same. Really?
And I tried to cross grade it to Black Label, but I think they had a pick, like they have a spec. They didn't let me get past that Black Label because I want to have the first Black Label Legendary Collection.
Are there none? Are there absolutely none?
Yeah, there's none.
That's great. So I actually, when I first got into Pokemon and grading scene and everything, CGC was like the only grading company to go with because PSA was closed, all that kind of stuff, especially grading. So what I did was, I graded my first, Legendary Collection card I got from TCG Player. It was pretty decent condition, paid like a premium for it. I got a CGC, I think it was 9. And then I was like on the mission, I'm like, oh man, I got to find these. And so I ended up like years later, like 2 years later, I had 3 CGC 9.5s old labels. So they were across the CGC 10s. I had like 50% of the population of CGC 9.5s. And then I looked at them all and I was like, oh man, okay, which one is the best one? Which one's the absolute best? One had like a nick in the corner. One had a little bit of whitening. And then this one. This one was like, okay, if any of these had a chance at PSA 10, it's this one. And you know how nitpicky, PSA now is with high end cards. It is absolutely crazy how nitpicky they are. So I ended up submitting it, and it was the same submission. It was the same submission of the Mario and Pikachu's. It was the same submission. So I got 10s of those, and then I got a 10 in the Mewtwo, and I was over the moon. It was great. Obviously, upcharges hurt, but it's my all-time favorite, one of my favorite cards, and I just absolutely love that card. That's great. I'm not.
So I'm the one. I share the same population card as you. So, yeah,
that's great.
It's so yeah. I mean, like legendary collect. I bought mine on Throw and Toad. Don't
you bought your PSA 10 on? wait, was it PSA 10 or was it raw?
No, it was raw. It was like $60-$80. Like,
what?
Ridiculously cheap. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't have to pay upcharge. I graded it way back.
Okay, I have a lot more in this card than you, but congratulations. That's amazing.
So yeah, I mean that's how I started actually. Yeah, that was we digressed, but yeah, that's exactly it. So I started off liking the set. So I started to buy one like whenever I see a reverse holo posted on Throw and Toad, because that's like the only place I know how to buy them. So I'm new. I was new. So
yeah,
so
we all come from somewhere.
One by one, and I wanted to collect an entire set. Eventually, originally it went well, but some just never showed up. So basically, I was missing a few pieces to the collection until I came across the eBay listing, and it was selling a full set.
Wow.
It was fun. Let me get a calculator. I still remember how much it was in Hong Kong dollars.
Is the Hong Kong dollar a little bit less than the US dollar? Okay. What was it?
I got it for $1,500 entire set reverse.
Wow, 1,500. That's crazy. In all raw, all reverse?
All raw. PSA, I would say PSA 7, 8, 9, 10 kind of range.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then, I like it in my binder. I didn't grade any of them.
Yeah.
But it was $1,500. It was, back then, it was my largest spending of money on Pokemon cards. You need to understand, like, poncho boxes were, like, dirt cheap. It was, like, $20-$30. So, spending $15, it's crazy. So, I was like, I need to be able to make some money back from this. I can't just keep pouring money into Pokemon cards, right? So then I started to look for opportunities, and I think my first opportunity came in actual card game play. So there is a population of players in Hong Kong, and back then a lot of stores were scalping things such as Floatstone and Trainer's Mail. Back then, this is the XY breakthrough, breakpoint, that kind of era.
That's right.
And,
that's right.
Yeah, they were selling for like around $10 per piece, and then Throw and Toad. Sorry, they're not sponsoring me, but they definitely should. So I went on Throw and Toad, and it was like what, $1.99, 99¢. I'm like, why are people buying it as a $10? So I bought a bunch from the US, shipped it back, and I started selling it on the local market.
I mean, we all
yeah.
That's
so
yeah.
I did that, and then I got like a lot of threats on my phone, like people texting me saying like, "You're ruining the market. Why are you doing this? These stores, like they just hated me because I was undercutting all of them."
Oh, these were all like Japanese stores, or were these American? Because it's Troll and Toad.
English cards.
Oh, it's Okay, wow.
Yeah, so it was English because a lot of people played. There was no Chinese card back then. There were Japanese, but a lot of players, if they want to compete internationally, they have to do English. And card collecting and investing was never a thing in Hong Kong before 2016. I mean, actually before 2000, actually. So yeah, so 2020. I mean, yeah. So people just kind of kept on playing these cards and so on, and then. Yeah, that's how I got started. And then I started to look into the Western market again. So I started making YouTube video, and then I realized, I could do some flipping because of the price differences. Back then, there were no Japanese seller on eBay. Japan and eBay were two different worlds, and I was the gap between that two worlds.
Yeah, That's correct. Yeah, in 2020, it still was. It still was that way. I remember buying like cocoa boxes when they first came out. I remember buying like them for like $35, and I would ship them over. And you're like, man, that was a great price. Then I bought them again because they kept going up in in the United States market, but the Japanese market was still like dirt cheap. Like, this is great. And so I had found my first proxy service website, not sponsored, but it was from Japan. That's what I started with. They do a phenomenal job with packing and everything. They don't have coupons and everything like Buyee, but they actually care about the products that they ship back and everything. Instead of Buyee just throws it in envelope and just oh, $500 card, okay, put it in a paper bag. So I started with from Japan, and I really started buying a whole bunch of, just like everybody, just buying raw, grading, flipping, that type of thing. And that's kind of where I started from. This was very much just the first ever Pokemon stuff I ever bought was actually, I've actually never told this on camera, but first ever Pokemon thing I bought was, getting back into it, was like Dollar Tree packs. So like dollar packs. I was like, wow, this is cool.
There's like 3 cards inside.
Yeah, 3 cards. And like my first like rare card, because I was like, am I ever gonna get anything? First rare card was like a rainbow Whimsicott. I think it was a rainbow rare Whimsicott, and I was like,
you pull a rainbow from it.
Yeah. I was like, whoa. And it was. I was like, what am I staring at? Because the texture, all that kind of stuff, was very new to me. I was like, what in the world? And it got me hooked, and so I started very quickly. Actually, I did during the time it was WotC, and I'm a very much person that if I see a whole bunch of people moving one direction, I'm like, oh, okay, what's over here? I don't really like following the crowd, and I like because you can find great opportunities like that. And so I found YouTube channels like Scott's. I found other YouTube channels that weren't all about the open mouth thumbnail and like all the hype just to get views and everything, because I kind of just saw right through it because I wasn't 12 years old and I've done businesses in the past. I'm like, okay, they're just trying to create excitement. Totally understand, but I can't get behind the disingenuine, not the disingenuine, but like they just do it just to be excited and like hype, that type of stuff. Some people are very, very excited about opening Pokemon cards and everything. One of the this was leeching it over to it, but I kind of started with Maximofo. You probably know Maximofo. Yeah. I was in the Filthy Frank era, like all that kind of stuff, and Maximofo was all that kind of stuff. And so it kind of leads. He would sometimes, Maximofo Pokemon. He would do like some Pokemon. He would battle iDubbbz and everything on like, and iDubbbz would always pull like a crazy card or whatever. Max would custom out like, what the hell? But
I was watching Unlisted Leaf like when Endo was really, really early on. So.
Okay, yeah. He always had, his backdrop was always this huge plushes and that huge Pikachu plush. That man is crazy. Yeah. I've never met him in person. I've met this past year, this past August, I went to Worlds, my first Worlds ever. It was phenomenal. I met a lot of people that I only talked to online, specifically like on E4 and everything, and it was just a phenomenal event. We had, Scott, not the SM Pratt, but the other Scott, Pokemon Flying Monster. He created these, I don't know if you can even see them. He created these Honolulu 2024 badges for all the E4 people. Here, I can show you. But it's really, really cool. But he...
Your name in Japanese as well. In Japanese
yes, I did that. So last, the year before, I did, obviously it was in Yokohama. And so Yokohama, they did one as well. He partnered with a company and they created it for us. But it was just super cool. I went to the E4 meetup. I met Randolph. Randolph is in the UK. I met him. I met obviously. Oh man. Oh come on. What's his? He was a voice actor. He's like one of the biggest Pokemon illustrator or YouTube channels. He did a video of like giving out ice cream, but he gave like packs out to kids or whatever. Leonhardt, thank you, Leonhardt. I don't know, it's totally blank. Leonhardt, I met him. He's
playing like shit, right? Like,
give me a little bit more, yeah. Yeah. Leonhardt. I met Phantom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Met him, and I met a whole bunch of other. Chloe, Pokey Chloe, met her.
Okay, Chloe.
So it was
Okay.
really, a lot of people that have never met before or anything, or Island Growth as well. I don't know if you knew Island Grown. He's native to Hawaii, but he's like a streamer online anyway. Anyway, so I met a lot of people there. It was a phenomenal experience. And it was just very, 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 very fun to go there. But it was the first time there. Met a whole bunch of E4 people. Everything it was just phenomenal. Kind of got off track, obviously, of us just reminiscing of the past and everything. But like I said,
Fascinating.
yeah, and like I said, how I started was just very basic. Very, getting some cards, grading them, flipping them, and that's just how most of us, start. Obviously, Troll and Toad. I didn't start on Troll and Toad. I'm now getting into Troll and Toad. I wish I got into Troll and Toad more because a lot of my raw cards would sell a lot faster. And I'm going to conventions, so I'm going to Collecticon in Atlanta. I'm going there in February, I think it is, and then another one called Culture Collision in January. Sorry?
I thought they closed down the Evo program. Are they still opening it for some people?
For Collecticon?
For Toronto. Back then, they have something called EVO program.
Yeah, they had, maybe I got in right when they did stuff, but or they closed it down, but I'm still selling cards, and I'm getting I think it's 13% fee or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, that's not bad. Because back then I did sell with their Evo program. That's totally like a different stage in my life.
Yeah, you ship cards to them, right? And then they ship it directly out of their warehouse.
Yep, and then they have a back end system where you can edit what price you want to sell it at and these sort of stuff. And then I think just before COVID, they closed it down. They closed most of the international or smaller, tinier account down. So yeah, they closed mine down. They still have $200 in their account that I don't even know how to get back. But yeah, I mean, I wish that they would reopen them again. But I know that for some people in the US, they are still allowing it. Maybe for you as well as for catch 'em all Pokemon. I think they're still selling on Evo. So yeah, I mean, I know it's 13%, but that's the same everywhere. Right?
And I'm not even doing Evo. I'm just shipping from my house. I'm not sending it to a warehouse somewhere or whatever. But anyway, yeah. So I wanted to also ask.
The way they warehouse, maybe that's why, because you're doing it from your house. Because I think a lot of people are just storing it, using them as a storage facility.
Oh, interesting.
So they close it down. Yeah, I think that's the reason. And because since you're shipping from your house to the customers, I think they don't have to have warehouse space. Because early on, right at the beginning, they didn't even charge for warehousing. So people used to ship crap loads of bulk cards to them. And it just never sells.
They just stuck with it.
Yeah. It was Toronto would list a card at 99 cents, for example. And everyone would list it at $1.99, $5.99. And just to wait until Toronto sold out, people would buy theirs. Wow. And so a lot of people just stacked tons of cards.
That's lucrative business if you just want to send off 500 fire energies or something, and maybe they'll sell for a cent. You have no risk. You just it's there. If it sells, it sells. So I guess that's why.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's why Toronto then introduced the warehousing fee, and then I think the warehousing fee was a little too low, so people still kept spending it.
So I also wanted to ask about your business, kind of getting back on track. Like I said, we can talk about forever about Pokemon, but and it's again just one little thing. It's so hard to to talk about a lot of the stuff because a lot of us are just solely online. A lot of us are not locally and everything. So having these conversations, a lot of times, obviously, you're just speaking to a camera. I'm just speaking to a camera in the sense of us making our own YouTube videos, and it's never like a conversation. So a lot of that's kind of missed. I've missed because I'm very much a conversation type of person. It's really hard for me just to look at a camera and imagine it's a person. But it's just.
And to be honest, a lot of people will think that I am like those evil investors, or I'm only caring it about the money side. But originally, I came, I got back in because I'm a collector. It's just that no one likes to watch collecting content. Like,
It's all invest. How can I make my $5 into $10, $10 and $50? You know.
Yeah, that's what people watches, and like, I mean, like, I'm not gonna tell people I'm collecting. Well, I do tell people, but like, I'm collecting these. Well, you can't really see it, but these are like the regular terrestrial card, like the terrestrialized card. They're not expensive card. Like they're really cheap, like the Growlithe or the Gyarados from the first Scarlet and Violet set. Like I'm collecting them in PSA 10, but they're selling for $40 US. Like how do I make a video saying, "Oh my god,
yeah. I've tried. Yeah, it's so many people scream manipulation because their $2 card went to $4, and like there is a a dog in a fight of that, meaning that there is that out there, but it's so hard to move markets. Like, how are you going to move? There's so many hundreds of thousands of, especially Moonbryons, but like trying to do a buyout, it's just not possible. Maybe in Japan it is because of it's the buyout at certain prices, because Japanese people say like, oh, it all sold for this much. Okay, I'm gonna list it a little higher. You can buy yourself out.
That's fake as well."
That's fake as well.
Yeah, I'll talk about that. That's also fake.
Okay.
Yeah. So, going back, if you're talking about my business side, so it actually changed a lot. Originally, like I said, I bought cards off Toronto. I resold it in local market, undercutting everyone. That's great. And then I got into, and a lot of those stores hated me back then. But then a lot of the English cards that they got was overpriced as well from the so-called Hong Kong distributors, because Hong Kong doesn't actually have an official distribution. So that so-called official distribution also gets its card from Singapore. So
interesting.
Yeah, so I was able to parallelly, legally import Pokemon card from the US and sell it for much cheaper. So I became distributor of Hong Kong.
How expensive is that shipping from the United States to yourself? Like, you have to buy a lot of cards to like dollar cost average down.
Originally it was quite expensive to ship a lot of cards, but then eventually, that's how when you run a business, you always what I would do, I would set a price where people are set, and people will be buying it at this price. And then I would try to look for a better margin by lowering my costs and things. So, for example, I knew shipping was a big deal, so I contacted FedEx and DHL, and I opened the corporate account, and then I got better discounted rate. And you just kind of have to establish things one at a time, and then increase your margin over time. So how do you? Yeah, that's how you actually make a business run more smoothly. Usually at the start, if you charge everyone like market price, if you want like 30% margin, you don't start off with 30% margin. You start off with 10, and then how do you lower your costs in order for you to get 30% margin? That's the fun bit.
There you go. All the business strategy, tactics, all that. But how has your business changed from when you started it to now?
So it went through many different phases. So for example, when graded card was not a thing here, I basically did like a graded card dealer. So I was everyone in Hong Kong. Basically, they have different card stores. So card store ordered a card from me, and then basically they wanted to get into graded cards. So they collect the graded card from the customers and send it to me, and I help them send it to PSA. So that was the thing, because no one knows how to send things to PSA. I don't know why, but that was the thing. And then a lot of people picked up on that, so it wasn't profitable anymore. So I started buying bulk cards. So basically, because I have preferred like cheaper shipping rates, I could ship bulk card to the US and get like a good deal or a bunch of booster box back. Darium Pokemon, those guys, they used to trade bulk with packs. Maybe you. Yeah. So basically, you send in like 3,600 bulk to get a booster box or something like that.
Oh wow!
And so I was collecting a bunch of these and getting a bunch of booster boxes, and then reselling those booster boxes here locally.
Okay.
So that was great profit until bulk crash, obviously. So that's why your business have to continue to evolve, and I think this brings us back closer to COVID. And during COVID time, Japanese card Tokaboom. So I did make a lot of YouTube rip and ship back then. So I was like one of the original person doing rip and ship from Japan, doing Shining Star V. So Shining Star V, I ripped up, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 cases.
Whew.
Yeah, it was
a lot.
Yeah, I had people trying to hunt cases down for me, and I'll give them extra money. Like if they had hunt me a case, yeah, take the cash, and then every night I would just be ripping packs.
Wow.
That was tiring, but it was fun. And then as the lockdown became more serious, shipping became more expensive, so that didn't work. And then what ended that kind of Japan distribution back to the US side was EV Hero.
EV Heroes, yeah.
EV Hero was horrible. All the distributors told me that you can get as many as you want. And I believed it. I was like, yeah.
Let's go.
And then they were like, yeah. And they're like, oh, you'll never get allocated because it's Japanese cards. That's what they say, right? And then I was like, okay. So I took on pre-order. I knew it was going to be bad. So I think I only pre-order around $500.
Only $500 is...
Only pre-order 500. I ordered like 1,000 something, but I only allow 500 for pre-order. So took a bunch of money. What was like $100,000 US, something along that line. And then I had to refund all of them.
You had to. Oh my gosh. Oh.
Yeah, they said I can get 1,500 boxes. What did I get? I got 24.
You got 20. Wait, cases or just single boxes?
What could I do? You got it. Selling individual cards.
You ordered 1,000 booster boxes, like pre-ordered, and you got 24. What? That's 0.024% of your entire. Did you just stare at your screen? You're like, what? Did they forget a couple zeros?
How it works in Hong Kong is it's still a little different. So basically, they just call you and say, dude, about your order, we're only getting. I'm like, crap. I mean, I knew this like a month or so before the release. So I was like, okay. Well, I mean, I knew what I had to do, but it was really annoying because some of the money were moved into my bank account ready to pay the distributors. Yeah. Because, you don't know how, I mean, in here in Asia, how distributor work, you just throw in a number. And then at release, they'll tell you to pay.
Yeah, and then, boop, write a check, boop.
Yeah.
Man, is that why so many people hate you? Because you promised them 500 booster boxes of EV Heroes and they got one?
No, they didn't get any.
So you got 24, so you got 24 just for yourself type of thing? Oh yeah, you just...
I mean, I was like, there's no way I can sell this shit, right? Like,
you gotta allocate it. You gotta cut the booster box in like tenths. And like, okay, you get 1/10 of a booster. I know you ordered 10 booster boxes. Here's a pack.
Yeah. So I was like, okay. So I refunded all of them, and it was a lot of phone calls between PayPal and bank because you can't move too much money at the same time.
Yeah.
It's just annoying. And then basically I paid all the refund. There's a lot of fees to it too. Like if you have to transfer. So I'm like, oh crap. But it's okay. I mean, at least I know that I refunded to the customer. Even there was a time I was like, maybe I should just run away with this.
That's not good.
I mean, and I was like, go 100K.
Should I commit a felony? $100,000. How much can that buy me? Now, is that Hong Kong dollars?
No, it was USD.
That's USD? Okay, that's phenomenal. That's phenomenal. And now it's to today where, as you talked in your previous video, that you just get a large, you save up amount of cash when you see opportunity, you buy, hold, whatever, and at the same time, you're working a normal 9-to-5 job.
I mean, back then I already have like well, my job is not a 9-to-5, but then I do run other businesses, usually in tutoring, teaching. So basically,
that's right. I think you mentioned that.
Lucrative. It's quite good. So I mean, I just don't have the time to stream at night, and then it's quite tiring. You have to. I mean, I'm looking at Nostalgic Nomic now. I'm looking at him. Sometimes I feel like I really want to get into Rip and Chip because it was so fun. But looking at him ripping 6 hours, that's the reason why PokeRep stopped.
Oh, he stopped. Really?
He used to do Rip and Chip.
Oh yeah. He doesn't do it anymore.
Nope. Not for profit, but just for fun kind of thing. Because
wow, I didn't know that.
It's draining. You have a responsibility to your customers that you have to rip and then ship it on time. And there was a time when I have to put the nice card in a what do you call it? A
penny sleeve.
And and there was a time when I put too much in. One of my finger, it kind of got scraped. Yeah, it was. Yeah, so it's actually hard work. So,
you gotta wear gloves, and you gotta make sure. I don't. Because you're not making much at all per transaction. It's more, I would say, marketing, but at the same time, you are making a little bit, but you have to do that so much. It's little. If you calculate the money per hours, it's probably not even worth it. You might as well just go do a 9-to-5 job instead of spending up until 2 a.m. ripping packs for people. And so I can see it as, I've also talked about this where one of my potential exit strategies, because everyone always talks about, okay, a potential, what's the next thing to go on? What's the next, thing to buy and flip or whatever. But little people talk about exit strategies of like, okay, when do you cash out of this and how do you do it? So I've been since 2020, been accumulating lots and lots of Japanese boxes, not to the extent of 1,000 booster boxes, but my biggest set that I have is 151 of Japanese, and I almost have 151 boxes, but I think I'll have 132 boxes. Eventually I'll get there, but it's just a really good set. Also, I have like 100 of V-Star Universe, 50 of VMAX Climax, and then it goes down the line of 20 Pokemon Go, that type of stuff. But that's a lot of product. Especially 151, it takes up the space of pretty much 2 booster boxes. Regular booster boxes, obviously a little bit thinner, but still takes up a large amount of space. And so storing that, and then, okay, how am I going to sell all this? It'd be great if TCG Player, I don't think right now that they have Japanese booster boxes that you can sell off and everything. I know Sneaker Dunk does, and like a whole bunch, but I think Sneaker Dunk is specifically in Japan. I mean, there are eBay, obviously you can go off of, but eBay sales, I mean, especially if you have pretty competitive, you're maybe not selling a whole bunch per day. So I've been thinking of one of my exit strategies are just doing, not doing rip and ships, but also just doing like Whatnot or whatever. It's like, I know it's just super scummy nowadays doing Whatnot and everything, in the sense of, there's so many, it's not a good reputation. They actually had to come out with
there's too much weird stuff going on. I mean, rip and ship, that's fine, but then once you have these bonuses, special prize, it kind of
it's gambling.
Attention,
It's gambling on top of gambling, because we're opening children's cardboards to pick a shining card possibly. But at the same time, if you spend this much, you get to spin a wheel, or you get to pick a duck or whatever. They still have plenty of that on Facebook. If you ever go to those Facebook groups that just are buy and sell or whatever, they call them waffles. I had to get out of all the Facebook groups that had that, because it was just too kind of scummy, because it was just preying on the people that had gambling addictions. Do you know what a waffle is? A waffle?
Yeah, like a raffle. But you can't use the word raffle because
they can't say raffle, so they say waffle. Ooh, you're getting past the censor. But yeah, I didn't really like that. Obviously, it's great for a business owner or whatever. Like, okay, cool, I can sell my card at 110% if 20 people go in the same card, but there's obviously one winner and 19 losers. You're going to have a lot more losers than winners. And it's just, it's just a little too scummy for my taste. So I'm just doing, the best lucrative right now businesses besides like ribbon ships or like if you have a big social media presence is going to like collecticons, is going to conventions, selling, buying, selling, doing that kind of stuff. And I
So
wanted
for
to.
the US, I think that is very possible, and I mean, I would love to visit some Collecticon. I think that would be quite cool. So the one we had in Hong Kong was like really tiny, and there are some buying and selling going on, but usually of very, very low end, like single cards and stuff. So, there's no way like I can go in and take like a Mario Pikachu box and I can sell it off at a reasonable price. And when I say reasonable, they would buy it at 40% market, 50% market.
Wow.
I'm like, I'm not selling it at 50%
That's crazy.
market.
Might as well just put it on eBay. Like,
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, you can still send to eBay, right?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Yeah, there's plenty of other sources.
I send it to a lot of US consignor for the eBay. So I get rid of it that way. Because if I open my own eBay account in Hong Kong, a lot of the US buyer are going to be like, oh my God, you guys are from like Hong Kong, China. It must be fake. No, it's not always fake. Yes, there are fake cards.
We're kind of close to Japan to get the product,
And then like they would say, your booster box doesn't the Pokeball size is not the right size. I'm like, what do you mean? How you measured the size?
I had a guy that I would I do some of the plays where I go to Sam's Club or whatever and buy a bunch of the big boxes and everything that have like 14 packs and everything. Man, it's such a luxury living in the United States and doing Pokemon because there's so many A deals. B, we don't have to do vet or VAT, I think it is. We have great auction, places. Like I recently auctioned off a first edition Shining Gyarados, a PSA 9 on Z&G Emporium. And so they do 95% payout. So it sold for $2,436. So $2,436. And I got a payout of like, I think it was $2,100 because they do the 95% over $1,000. But it's such a luxury.
They're also doing 95 because I sometimes use
Probstein? Probstein?
Yeah. Because they do seal, so I like it because I have a lot of seal products.
Do they still do? Yeah, that's right. Because PWCC doesn't do sealed, right?
They took away seal because so many they couldn't recognize the real virtual box from the fake one.
Yeah, I mean it's hard. I mean, just like S.M. Pratt has said in the past, there's very little ways how you can tell the authenticity of a box without doing something like CT scanning it or doing something else. Because there's you can because it's all it is just shrink wrap, and you could very much easily at home create some. There's no intellectual property of like some type of shrink wrap method or whatever that Pokemon has developed. And it's very hard. Obviously, we had the huge thing with the Pokemon boxes, Japanese, being resealed. Juice boxes were in each boxes, rocks. And they started doing the, I actually have a good old terrestrial festival here. They actually started doing, obviously, the rip right here. Even though and obviously the closed bottom.
Yeah.
Even though I've heard there's another way to get into it, but it's a lot harder. It's not like a Joe Schmo off the side of the streets is going to know how to open this and put juice in it. So, because everyone can know how to shrink wrap, re-shrink wrap something. But anyway, so.
But like I said, like you're right, like as a Pokemon business person, like your business have to evolve, and I think that like I said, like sometimes the higher end products you have, it's not actually easy to sell. I mean, a lot of people praise higher end products, like, oh my God, you have so many Mario, Luigi. But to be very honest, I don't even feel safe selling those on eBay. Like as a seller, like. You could claim that it is not as described. You can claim it as fake. There's just so many issues with it. So
I had a Luigi Pikachu, the half heart, sell on eBay, and thank the Lord for authenticity guarantee for eBay, because I shipped it to the eBay warehouse and the buyer said, I don't want it, this is taking too long, whatever, I want a refund, whatever. And eBay honored that, refunded him, but I still made the sale. So eBay pretty much, it was at their warehouse and they absorbed the card, and they were like, oh, okay, cool, we'll just sell it. And so they probably sold it, but it was for a really good price. I think I sold it for like $1,500 on eBay, which was really good because authenticity guarantee, it doesn't do, there's some type of fee waived into it or whatever, so it makes the cost to sell that kind of stuff lower. So it was like my last Luigi Pikachu. I think I sold my last Mario Pikachu Full Art PSA 9 in auction with ZNG. I think it got like 3,100, something like that. I ended up getting a payout of close to 3,000. It was like 2,950, something like that. It was actually from this box. It was sad. It had a little bit of whitening. It was too much whitening on the top. I'm like, man, whatever. Like all 3 out of the 4 cards got a PSA 10, except for the Mario. This was the second submission. The first submission I did because I had 2 sets of these boxes. The first set that I did, it was all PSA 10. Second set, it was all PSA 10 except for one. It was the most expensive.
Keep those boxes. Even those boxes sell really nice on eBay.
Dude, yeah, these boxes, and specifically, I love this. This promotion's amazing. But specifically, and I have another set. Like I said, I still have the box, the other set, and I have it like an acrylic. But specifically the card, the card box, obviously. But also the sleeves, the flipping sleeves. People sell these for like $5 a sleeve, and there's 60 sleeves in here. It's crazy.
I pretty much just used it and sent it off different, when I sell single cards, sometimes back then I just sleeved it up and just sold it off. I didn't even think it was ever going to worth money.
I mean, who does? It's just plastic, but at the same time, Pokemon cards are just cardboard. So
yeah, I know. So I learned to not, use these sleeves. I use a lot of these boxes. You'll be a lot of people that, if they come to my warehouse, they will see that I have a lot of these boxes stacked there, shoved together. I didn't take good care of these boxes. They're just boxes. What the hell?
Yeah, who's gonna care about a damn box? Oh, but be careful with this little piece of cardboard.
$100 US.
Oh man, but at least it wasn't like you were using a Full Art Mario to bookmark your books or whatever. Good thing for that. You saved the most expensive part, the most valuable part, but you missed out on a few $100. Oh well.
I'll let you on a really dumb thing I did. So there was a time when I thought lamination. You can laminate cards, right? So I bought a laminator and I was like, for displaying Pokemon cards, seeing that I'm not going to sell these anyway, so I might just laminate some. And I was test testing it out, and I tested it out on the Burning Shadow Charizard.
Come on, man. How? Why? What was the value on that? At the time, it couldn't be like $10. It could have been like $50. It was probably $50 at the time or something.
Like $10-ish. It wasn't like a full art. It was just a regular GX. It's a regular GX. It was just a regular GX. I have tons of them, and I was like, let's laminate some to see how it works. And I'm like, I quite like the look of it, but it just doesn't. It looks shinier on the front, but because of the. So and then the other day I took it out. I was like, damn, this could have been a PSA 10.
You should send it into CGC and call it an error. It's an error card. It's lamination error.
Yeah. So I mean, I've done a lot of weird stuff because to me, Pokemon cards are just the value I bought it at most of the time. As a collector. But I would in 2016 I knew I could invest in Pokemon cards, but I didn't know it would be this extent. And I think this goes to your next question in your interview list, which is the 2023 Japanese bubble. Oh, yes. Let's start on this. So one of my very first videos that kind of blew up or whatever was, and blew up in the sense of I got 2,000 views or something. But it was, what the heck's going on in Japan?
And it was my whole video of like, okay, so in Japan, they really like these cards that have girls on them that are called waifu cards, and stuff is going crazy, and people are opening their eyes on Japanese and the texture and everything. I remember I would keep telling this story of like I said, I was a big fan of Japanese in 2020, 2021, and at the time still English was king. English was king until obviously that boom. Then everyone was like, whoa. These values, no one really talks about anything until the values shine that like, hey, this card got this much, way better than your card. It's all that kind of very surface level type of thing. But yeah, I remember in like a Facebook group sharing like a Japanese card, and some and this is the sentiment at the time was like, oh man, why do you like this card? You can't even read it. I'm like, it's not even English. It's trash, man. What do you do? But yeah, it was crazy. The sentiment changed. It was 2022, right? Yeah, it was the summer of 2022, right? Or 2023?
Yeah. 2022, it started going up, and then I knew after Worlds, I knew Worlds was gonna crash it. But but before that,
it was crazy.
I didn't know how high it could go. That's the thing.
Yeah,
and that was really crazy.
Yeah, I was watching the graph just like everybody else, and when it first like dipped, I already sent some cards off to Evie on Instagram. He's like a big seller of Japanese cards in Japan. But anyway, sent it off to him to sell at what's one of the biggest stores in Japan for
Card Rush?
Not Card Rush. It's the other one.
UUK?
Something one of the biggest ones. But anyway, what's up?
Clove? CLOV.
I think it was Clove. Yeah, I think it was Clove. So he took it to Clove, and they like, oh, this is the amount we can give you. And I was like, yeah, that's fine. And so I sold it off, and then it just kept going down. So at the time, everyone was watching content of like, oh, what's going on in Japan? What's how far can it go? All that kind of stuff. And one interesting take that I was watching your channel on and everything, and was the lottery systems, the lotteries that were happening in Japan. And I'm guessing still happen. But one of your takes, obviously, was it something is 2020, perspective is 2020, whatever, what we know now. But at the time, it made sense that, these lotteries were happening where, and for people who don't know, these lotteries were, this business would collect a whole bunch of PSA graded cards, PSA 10, PSA 9, mostly PSA 10, high value cards. And they would say, hey, this is what we're like lottering off. You can buy a ticket, which didn't cost that much. I don't know, 1,000 yen, 2,000. I don't even know. It depends on what was being. Yeah, it depends on what was being lotteried off, and you had a chance of winning one of these huge cards. And like I said, one of your takes was that you felt that these businesses were just going to keep buying up these cards, and people were going to keep putting money into it. And they kind of it's kind of like a waffle, kind of in the sense of buying a lottery ticket. But yeah, I'll get your take on it because you were.
Clove was that one of the forerunner of that, and they started out. They didn't start out as like a Pokemon shop. They just started out as like a lottery system app kind of thing, and they made it easier for people to lotter, like waffle, like whatever you like.
Gamble.
So all you have to do is you use money to purchase coins. And then those coins could be used to, waffle off cards, And then if you get a card that you don't want, you can press the button and you can sell it back to them for the coins.
Oh, so interesting. So they don't have to send you the card. You can just get a high value. Then you can use the coins to buy actual cards or just buy lotteries.
Use the coin to go buy more lottery.
Oh, wow. Okay, literally it's just a feeding itself system.
So that generated a lot of money. That's why to get people wanting to waffle in, so they have to put in high-end cards. So they pump the crap out of waifu high-end cards.
Mm-hmm.
The Ultra Prism Lily in the Japanese side, I think it was Ultra Sun or Ultra Moon. That Lily, at PSA 10, it was around 600 I was pressing in the calculator. It was like 63,000. 63.
Yeah, I have a buddy. I have a buddy on my Discord that went in on that card. It was Battle Day. It was Battle Day Lily, wasn't it?
No, not bad. Not bad. The other one.
Oh,
it's
the
just
other
a
one.
regular one you can pull out from Ultra.
Oh, that's right.
GX.
That's right. I had to talking about that because the forefront of Lily cards were the
Oh, the
Battle
one
Day.
was way
Yeah.
up there,
Yeah. So Battle Day Lily, he bought it with a buddy of his. I think 3 guys bought it at like 20 or 18,000, and they sold it. They sold it at $110,000.
Yeah.
They sold it at the peak of the peak, and it went. I was like, man. Obviously, they split it 3 ways or whatever. But man, that was what a return on investment that card was.
You know what is even more interesting? You should, if you were in Japan that time, you held that card. You walk in and you sell it. They give you a box of cash.
Yeah, just cash.
Like an entire suitcase of cash.
Yeah,
crazy. All 10,000 yen. Yeah. So they wrapped 1 million yen per bundle, and
Wow.
it was crazy. Yeah.
Well, and I always love converting my current valuation in yen because it sounds like it's I'm a billionaire in yen or whatever. But a lot of people
I did go to Japan and I did sell some of the cards, so they just gave me like 5 million yen straight. I was like, shit, how am I gonna take this out?
I'm gonna kill. Yeah, I saw you. You sold your Alolan Day friend, your Alolan Friends card. Yeah, your PSA 10. What did you sell that card for?
I think that was close to 1.5 million yen. 1.5 million yen.
Was that still like $10,000 or?
Yeah, something along that line.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Because I have multiple, so I sold some, and then it went up more, so I sold one more, and then it went up, and then it went up. I'm like, I wanted to sell it, and then it dropped back down, but I still sold the third one. So I sold like 3 of them, and I still have more.
Dude, congrats! That obviously, we always want to talk about the wins, but we're kind of scared to talk about the losses. But in your recent video, you talked about some of your losses. But yeah, it's great. You have to have good with the bad because so many people harp on like, oh, these guys are so evil. They're spending this money and they're flipping for this much money. Well, what the heck? You're always going to have that. You're always going to have someone that like, oh man. I wanted this card, but it's so much higher. I'm just going to be mad on it on the internet, all that kind of stuff. And, at the time we didn't know that it was going to go down further or whatever. We're like, oh, this is comfortable. Where we at? We want to minimize risk. How to minimize risk is to cash in on your investment, quote unquote, and, have that cash to build up on hand on the side for wonderful events like once in a year event, just like Transfer Festival. A lot of people, spend a lot of money, just like I spend a lot of money on Transfer Festival. I know you spend a lot of money on Transfer Festival. And look at it now. I mean, a lot of people were, like myself, I wasn't too set on like, oh, this set's going to go crazy. I thought it was just like, okay, cool. It's another, EV set. I know there's tons of EV collectors out there. And so I'm like, okay, I'll buy 100 boxes, whatever. So, but now.
That's the thing. A lot of people are looking at trends, and I think looking at trends is okay, but it really depends on what trend you're looking at. A lot of people are looking at like a 2-year span, and they said that's the trend. But when you're in this hobby long enough, you're looking at a 10-year trend, a 20-year trend. That trend and that trend, it's very different. And a lot of people just rationalize that trend to be the same, and it's not. And there are a lot of things that I tried to look at trend, and I got it wrong. For example, Team Rocket block box in Japan, the really expensive one.
Yeah.
I didn't get any. I pre-ordered it, and then they said, oh, they don't have it available. So I was like, oh, okay, it doesn't matter. I'll just skip it, right?
Oh man.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the only part that I did well in is because I didn't get it. That's why I went to buy a PSA 10 graded one.
Yeah.
I bought it for $300 US.
That was probably the market at the time, obviously, and just like you.
I didn't even like Giovanni. I just bought the other one.
The other one's amazing. I was so close to buying that. Sorry, we're talking about 2 different things. The Alolan Friend box. I was so close to buying the Alolan Friend box because I like the Pikachu. I love the Pikachu, the full art and everything. I was like, okay, Lowland friends, whatever, they're trainers, whatever. But I almost bought that box at like $1,000, and then someone else bought it out before because From Japan does a thing where you send payment, and then if someone buys it quicker than they can buy it, then they just refund you. So I was like, oh man, I don't get it. Oh well. And then it went crazy, obviously. But now it's dropped the Alolan Friends specific card. I think last time it sold for like 3,200, 4,000, something like that. Just the PSA 10.
Get that card anymore.
Yeah. So anyway, I just again, I just love this.
A lot of people are spotting trends, and the one that I got wrong was the Precious Box collection.
Yes, you were talking about that. It didn't do much. It's a gosh dang beautiful card. Like it's absolutely beautiful. I actually, it's right here. I have some cards below. You're kind of like propped up with the laptop's kind of propped up. So I have some of those cards, but like they're down to like $160 PSA 10 from Japan.
Yeah, and the box is awfully big. Like
it is huge. It is huge. Like I harp on all the time English with their garbage boxes, how big like I'm talking about the Sea in the Sky box, the Crown Zenith boxes. I mean, that thing's like this big, and it has 14 packs in it. 14 packs. And so what I would do, I would pretty much buy them from like Sam's Club, and I'll break them down. And then I literally have a 40 gallon like crate. Just I stack them in 18 pack stacks, and I wrap them. I wrap them not in saran wrap or whatever, but in like a band, so it looks like like cash, I guess. But I put it in like 18 packs, because that's what in a booster box lane, 1, 2, 18 packs. So I layer them all in like a 40 gallon crate, and that's what I stack all my packs. Like I have probably upwards of 4,000 English booster packs, and they're just in my basement. They're just in these 40 because of all the Sam's Club, the Costco, like all this kind of stuff that comes out. Even the blooming, whatever the blooming one coming out, the 151 in January. I'm buying I pre-ordered 150 of them because I have, I'm using my buddy's distribution. He has a business, and so I have access to distribution, which is great. But yeah, I put in a pre-order of like 150 of them, and so hopefully I get a good bit of them. Hopefully I get a good bit of them, not 24. But did you
actually get your allocation for Prismatic Evolution then, ETB?
I did not put any. So this happened recently of me getting, access to distribution. So I wasn't. I think he put in some for Prismatic Evolutions. That's right. Prismatic Evolutions, right? Yeah. It was pre-orders were that, but then the blooming came out, and I was like, I'm just order me $150 or 150 boxes. It comes out to like, I don't know, $5,000. Yeah, $5,000 for. It's $1.70 a pack. That's how much, or $2.70 a pack, something like that. Yeah, so it's crazy. But anyway, so the Japanese boom, it bursted, came back down. It's still, I mean, if you look up some of the graphs online, it's upticked a little bit in recent months and everything, but it's still significantly down. And it's like a heyday.
I think most people lost around 90 to 95% if they went up. If they bought in the high point, they lost 95% of the money.
Yeah, and honestly, like I've been talking about on this channel, everything, with these collectible markets, it's all about knowledge. It's all about knowledge, experience, and yes, noticing trends, but having a feeling of like, okay, maybe I should sell this. Okay, maybe I could mitigate the risk. I saw a picture online that had all the Umbreon VMAX, the alt art. I probably had like 60, all PSA 10, 60 or 100, 60 of them in a heart. Yeah, you saw that?
Yeah, everyone's been sending that to
me. just all of them, and I'll post a picture here. But all in a heart. I'm like, man, who in the world? Because he didn't buy outright 60 of them when they were they were at $500. I mean, 60 of them, that's freaking $30,000. Like, how in the world? I wonder if it's like one of those big streamers like Big Goat or Goated Pools or whatever, where they literally buy out tons and tons and tons of those slabs just to have in their streaming or whatever. Or maybe he bought them raw. I don't know. That's a huge amount of money to keep in, these slabs. That slabs are very volatile, are super volatile. They could, just like just Japanese, we could have an experience where it's English. Some people are like, oh, English, never will go down or whatever. But all these sentiments, the Umbreon VMAX has the same pull rate as like the Pokemon VMAX alt art from Evolving Skies that looks like a building. I forgot what it is. Duraludon VMAX. It has the same alternate art pull rate or chances as the Umbreon VMAX. So why is one worth $20 and one's worth freaking $600, $700 raw? Or maybe it's $1,000. I have no idea. It's because of...
I think over 1,000.
Yeah, it's solely popularity and solely, the focus of it. Everyone's saying, oh, this card's amazing, this card's amazing, this card's amazing. There's some beautiful artworks in Evolving Skies. And
that's what a lot of people think about that as, wow, that's cool, just all Umbreon, that's a lot of money. But if he spent all that money on Evolving Skies booster box, just kept it sealed, $30K into it, chances are he's going to make a lot more money than grading it and holding 60 Umbreon. I mean, it looks cool. You can flex,
it's a flex. It's flexing. Yeah. That's what it is. Like a flex. It's like who... okay, first of all, do you own a BGS Black Label of anything that you bought yourself?
Yes, I
did. Did you buy it yourself, or did you grade it yourself?
I graded myself.
Okay. So the people who buy Black Labels, like for like the last Poncho Rayquaza, BGS 10 went for, it was either Rayquaza or Magikarp or something. It went for like $15K or something. It was insane. Some guy sold on E4 sold a Luigi Black Label that went for like 30,000 or 25,000, something crazy. Like, oh my gosh. It's just how I see that and how a lot of people see it. It's just like flex culture. It's like flexing, like, oh, I had this, 1 of 8 and I mean, as you said, as we show off our 1 of 42, legendary collection of Mewtwo's. But it's
flex. But I mean, as an like if I put on my investing hat, I'm definitely not gonna do that. But if I'm putting on, I want to flex, definitely. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it's.
Do you know the Munch set? The Munch.
Oh, I have the all of them except the Rowlet. I have here. Let me.
That's easy. That's like the cheapest one.
Yeah, it's the cheapest one, and it's why I have it saved for last. But I need to minimize this. I have a whole bunch of PC cards that I really need to move into cash. But yeah, for those who don't know, all the Munch sets, I have 4 out of 5 cards, and these. Obviously missing the Rowlet. But go ahead with were you talking about the Black Label?
Yeah, the Black Label one. So if you look at the BGS Pop Report, there's no Psyduck. Psyduck is the hardest to get at Black Label.
Because it's centering, yep.
Yeah.
Even PSA 10.
There's one EV, there's 2 Rowlet, there's 1 Mimikyu, and 18 Pikachu.
18 Pikachus. Wow.
In Black Label. I own 2 of the Black Label Pikachu.
Wow. Look at
I
you.
own 1 of the Label Rowlet, and I own the only Black Label EV in the world.
That's crazy. Did you all submitted them yourself?
Yes, I submitted them myself.
How many did you submit? Because I've seen I've seen like a huge box of just all Munch cards, and they're just like stacked to the brim. So I know there's a lot out there, but that's crazy. How many did you submit?
So back then, BGS actually accepted cross-grade from PSA.
Oh, okay.
So now they changed the rule where if you send in a PSA 10 card, you can only set a minimum of BGS 9.5. So you can't set a Black Label as a minimum grade.
Interesting.
Okay. Back then, you could set Black Label as a minimum grade. And I have tons of them in PSA 10.
That's why. Okay, so you submitted a whole bunch of them. And like, oh, whatever. Wow, that's phenomenal.
Pikachu, I have back then I submitted around 30 of them, and I got 2 as crossover to Black 10.
Oh my
gosh. And then Eevee, I submitted around 10, 15. Wow. Mimikyu, I only have 9 in PSA 10 anyway, so it doesn't matter how many I said. It just didn't get the Black Label. Someone else did.
Now you just have to crack them out.
I don't even know who is holding that card. Like, to be honest with you, like, and to be honest, people who are holding these cards are not likely to sell it anyway.
Yeah, so, it's just above my taste, like above my. I don't have the money for that. Just to put so much money into a card, I would rather put so much money into a specific card that is, highly like a trophy card. Only so many that were ever made, and we'll get into that later on. But we'll try to knock out some of these others. I did a whole little script, but I wanted to talk about your love for the Altaria art card.
It's just so happy. It's just such a positive card.
Do you have any around? Do you have any around? Because I know you have 50 of them, 100 of them.
It's in my warehouse. I didn't display it there, but yeah, I still have all of them. I didn't sell any. I didn't actually. It's not expensive. It's not like I would sell it for enough money, so I just kind of kept it. So I think it's not new that I collect the same card, multiple copies of it. But it was new for me to grade all 100 copies of it. Okay, I'll admit.
So why that card? What type of connection do you have to that card, or is it just that you like that trainer, or just like Altaria?
Yeah, I just like the entire composition of that card. It's so happy when you see it.
It reminds me of Pokemon, honestly. The cutesy type. I love that set. I had a booster box of it, a sealed booster box that during the boom I sold for 6,000 to a Japanese person, and I in return I bought 50 Celebi promos as well as 100, and they all I have a majority of them in PSC 10. And then I think I buy 50 or buy 100? I forgot. But anyway, then I bought 100 of the Scarlet and Violet promos sealed, and I still have 100 of them sealed. But I took a large amount of money and just put that into smaller things that, okay, if this halves, or there's very, very low likely that this will have, but this is it was so hard to let go that box go, because I was a big Japanese collector box person. So I had the original Shiny GX. I have CP6, the CP3, which obviously is the Pokecune. That was the oldest box that I had. I had not Battle Boost. What was the Best of X and Y? That's right, the Best of X and Y, which was the first high class set, because I was at that time I was a collector of high class sets. So I had Tag Team All Stars. That was the first booster box that I was buying from Japan. I bought 16 of them, held on to them until they were $500 and sold them all off. So really,
the price now.
The price now is 300, something like that.
That's why it's crazy. Yeah.
It's insane. But yeah, the Japanese bubble was crazy, and I think it went too far. I think where the fear and
many of those cards, many of the sealed boxes from the bubble actually never came back down in price.
Yeah,
the single card set, the booster box set.
Yeah, because they're so rare. Yeah, but even Pokecune, I think the last auction it was 4,000, but it's just so rare. It's so rare to get, so rare to find. But I was surprised. I was waiting. And obviously you've seen my video, but I was waiting for the ponchos to come down. I was like, come on, ponchos. Everything else bottomed out 90%. Come on, ponchos. Come a little bit down. And they never did. They ballooned up twice as much. They did come down maybe 10-20%.
Yeah.
But they didn't skyrocket down, and I was just waiting on that because at the time I was, trying to collect a full Poncho Pikachu PSA 10 set, and I finally did. I finally completed it. It wasn't a goal that I had for a long time. Then I looked at it okay, what's something I can collect now that's small enough that it doesn't take me years to get or cost me a ton of capital? What's something I can knock out little by little? It's oh, okay. And what's cohesive? What set is fully cohesive, that it feels complete if I do complete it, and has certain bits in every single card? I'm oh, the Poncho set. And it's still new. It's not first edition Shadowless, or it's nothing like the one thing I was trying to collect as well, the Gold Stars. All the Gold Stars in PSA 9. Good luck PSA 10, geez, Rayquaza 50K. Yeah, good luck with that, bud. But as well as other ones like crystal cards, I was trying to collect. But I was like, because I graded a crystal Charizard, and I got a PSA 9, and that was like 7 mil cert. That was like 77 mil cert or something. So it was a very, very good because I bought it raw. I bought it raw from in Tucson, where I was for a year during the whole boom period. But I bought that, and I bought also a Gold Star Rayquaza. It came back a PSA 8, sadly. But that was a great return. Sorry?
Japanese one?
No. English.
English. Yeah, the Japanese one is really... the English one is really hard to get a 10. I think that's really low pop.
Yeah, it's very, very hard. And even the ones that are 10, they're very old certs. They're very, very old certs. So, the I don't want to say, the 2 mil certs are worse than the 1 mil certs or the, all that kind of cert talking. But it was, there are some cards that are absolutely... I went to Florida. Again, I did a whole video on this. I went to Florida, and I found a Rayquaza PSA 9. I'm like, I want this card. Where is it? Went to Florida. Drove to Florida, because I'm from Georgia, so maybe like 6 hours south to Florida. I was like, found it. I was like, oh, this is awesome, beautiful. Thank you. Here's the money. And I walked out the door, looked at the card, scratches. Just scratches on the Rayquaza. PSA 9 on the Rayquaza, damaged. I was like, what? So I I went to lunch, thought about it, and I was so sick to my stomach. I went back and like, hey man, I'm sorry, that has scratches on it. I can't do it. Can you take the... So he's like, yeah, totally. He told me he doesn't sell.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. I mean,
yeah, he was a store owner and everything, and he sold that. It was on eBay, and I auctioned him down, or I priced him down. Then I went to Florida and saw it. But anyway, he later sold it on eBay to some poor sucker on that. But yeah, it was an older. It was like a 2 mil cert or something. Really, really old. So
you have to be careful with StockX. Have you heard of that website? StockX.
Yeah, of course.
So a lot of the 2 mil cert are sold in StockX.
Are so what?
StockX, you can buy PSA graded card back then. A lot of them was because they don't have to show you a real photo.
Oh, they're fake.
Because you have to take the photos on both sides.
Yeah.
StockX says, okay, I want a PSA 10 of this, and then they'll get a seller to sell it to them. They ship it, and they only check whether it's a graded card. They don't check the quality of the graded card.
Oh my gosh.
A lot of people actually got screwed over.
Scammed. That sucks.
Not scam, but you're buying a subpar.
Sorry. I thought you were talking about a fake PSA card.
No, it's a PSA, but the 2 mil certs.
It was just It was
in
actuality like a one lower grade, like a PSA 9. And even like I am in disbelief on some of the cards that are coming out, like a Crystal Charizard. I think it was TCA Gaming. I think he sold a Crystal Charizard that was like very high in the cert, as well as some other ones that just came out. There was like 99 mil cert and everything. Funny enough, talking about the 99 mil and up to what is it? Not a mil. It was a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah. 1 billion. I actually have. I don't know if you can see.
The first 1 billion?
No. I have 996,699. So I have. So
that's really good.
Yeah, I have 2 cards. So I got a
98 million. Yeah, I don't have any 99.
So it's 9996699. So I have that in an Okidori, or Okidoggy. So I have that, and then I have a Greninja that also it ends in 69 as well. So it's that's a funny card. I sometimes buy other cards that are kind of like meme cards or meme grades. That's one that's like, it was a 69 mil cert, so it was 69, 69, 69, 99, something like that. It was a Neo Genesis. What's the Pokemon that came out with the controversy that he not Tyranitar. It was, what's up? It was the controversy with the Pokemon sleeping with a human, and then in the game, or what, the leaks.
Kadabra?
No. No. It's I can't remember it, but
Don't worry.
anyway, so it's like a regular kind of Neo Genesis card. It's like a PSA 8 or a PSA 9, but I just bought it literally for the meme because someone posted on E4. I'm like, oh, this is funny. But anyway, long
Yeah,
long side tangent to the side. I would like to go over the current bubble we're kind of in right now with the English. I would say it's definitely a shift in demand, shift in popularity, shift in viewpoint for the English. You know, we had it already in the English bubble, alternate art bubble that happened during this, this past summer, with a lot of the alternate arts were going up and up and up in price. And I sold a bunch of cards earlier in the year for those crazy high prices. And then over the summer, really went down in price, like skyrocketed down. And that was just a huge, everyone was kind of, it's funny, there's certain things that happen throughout the year of Pokemon. It's crazy. Or every single year in Pokemon where during tax return, something pops off. If it's Japanese, if it's English, whatever, it pops off because everyone has extra money. They want to put it into something, whatever. And, 2 years ago, it was Japanese. Last year was English. Alter Arts went up crazy and then went back down. I had a Greninja VMAX that sold, Gengar VMAX, not Greninja. Gengar VMAX alternate art that sold, PSC 10 that sold for $850. And that was crazy because it went from literally $400 or something to $850. Sold it for there. And now it's kind of come back around. We were in this time period of, it's very interesting, where in September, October, everything started upticking. And some people would say it's around the release of the Pokemon Pocket. And some people say, oh, it's a Pokemon Pocket bubble, whatever. But it's very interesting.
If you ask me, I don't see what we're currently in as a bubble. I mean, a bubble is something that I would consider to be like, every day I wake up, the price double. That would be a bubble. And yeah, that was Japan 2023. The moment I sleep, I wake up, oh, it went up. Oh, it went up. You either buy it early or sell it early, kind of thing. Currently, I don't feel like it's a bubble. The reason being, I see a lot of booster boxes. A lot of people are saying, oh, Fusion Strike, these are going up. But I feel like it's normal. Usually in Pokemon card market, especially in the English side of things, they stagnate. And then after a while, they pop up, stagnate. And, that's exactly what we're seeing. I mean, we're seeing this in Evolving Skies, for example. Booster box, it was like 400, 600, 900.
Like stairs.
It's hovering at 900. I can't push it past 1,000 yet. I mean, it's always edging, but not really. Yeah. And things like Cosmic Eclipse, because I have many of these boxes, that's why I monitor them closely. Cosmic Eclipse, it was always like 900, 800, no, not 1,000 yet, but only in this boom you get like 1,000, like 1,100. So I don't feel, I feel like it's not really a bubble, but it's really a demand. But will it turn into a bubble? That depends on January, man. That depends on January.
It really does, and I'm actually surprised of how much uptick what Terrestrial Festival has had because of all the money that's been just pumped into English. You see a lot of, it's a really great time to buy the high-end cards, like some high-end cards. I've been wanting to get a Festive Pikachu forever, and it's come down to like 6,800, something like that.
7,000.
7,000, 6,800, whatever. And it's a really good time to buy it because it was like almost 20,000 or something crazy like that. But everyone just focused on English, solely focused. And I'm not saying the booster boxes are in a bubble because there's only a limited quantity out there, and it's only if Pokemon English prints. The one thing they know how to do is print, so they're gonna flip and print. But who knows how much they're gonna print and how much demands there's continue to be. And one prime example is the Van Gogh Pikachu. I was surprised that it now surpassed $400, almost $500 for a PSA 10, and how much there is in the population. It makes no logical sense, but you can't make any logical sense out of popularity, out of demand. Popularity, demand is just the killer of all knowledge.
The Van Gogh Pikachu card. I've been talking about. If you've been watching my channel, I've actually hired someone to go, and I paid for their. I mean,
That's right.
they're in they were in Europe
Yeah.
anyway, so I paid for the train tickets and then I paid for the accommodation just to get me as many copies as they can.
They were the one throwing the punches, right? They were the one punching people out of the way. Give me that Pikachu dressed up as Van Gogh. Give me stealing out of kids' hands. Give me that.
The guy I sent in was actually doing like a little different costume because they don't let them get recognized by the guard all the time. So they had like hats and shirts, scarves. Glasses.
Okay, I understand why people don't like you as much.
I didn't tell him to do that, but he thought that it felt less awkward for him. Does that make sense? Like I didn't tell him to just keep going.
It's fine. Even if he wasn't there, it was still a madhouse. I mean, you saw people just going crazy for this Pikachu card, and for good reason. It's a beautiful artwork. Great collaboration. I just wish the event wasn't as crazy. And if years and years will pass, and people will still look back on the Van Gogh event as just a colossal failure on Pokemon, not giving. I feel bad for these museum clerks and everything had to like push adult men, adult women away from clobbering each other. So there's always going to be this sour taste in my mouth for the event, even though the card is super popular or whatever, and maybe it'll get lost to time. I don't know. I highly doubt that because even the dogs, the Gold Star dogs, a lot of people don't realize that, obviously you've been in the hobby for a good bit. So there was a guy on E4 or whatever that posted that he had just binders and binders and binders of these Gold Star dogs, the legendary dogs. And because of that, the sentiment, especially in the higher end aspects, like a lot of people don't even touch those cards because they know how much, or it may be stolen from the factory, whatever. And even to this day, obviously, those are the lowest selling Gold Stars because of the actual supply out there. If you look on the PSA population report, I don't even know. It's just probably a scoff. It's probably laughable compared to Van Gogh or whatever. It's probably like 1,000, 2,000. Oh, okay.
100,000.
Yeah, 100,000. Yeah, it's oh my gosh, Van Gogh is crazy. I think it's like the third most graded card.
We didn't had a taste about me or anyone's buying a lot of it, but then later on, when you have like little packets of 25, people selling it at Collecticon, no one had a bad taste about that. Like that's the thing. Like a lot of people at that time, when they don't have the resource, when they're not prepared for these, they would hate on whatever for whatever reasons. Mm-hmm. I mean, I bought up 100 Evolving Skies booster box at release. Are people gonna hate me on that one? I mean, it was available. And I told you guys like the 151 UPC. It was on discount for like the longest time on eBay. You could get it under $100.
Oh, of course.
I have like 10 cases, so like 40. I mean, no one said I was a scalper. I mean,
it's just people getting angry.
The opportunities are always there. It's just. And I sometimes share some of these opportunities on my YouTube channel as well. I mean, Terrestrial Festival, I said $50. People say, yeah, it's going to go 30. It's Shining Treasure EX. I'm like, no, guys, no.
It's EVs. It's not just shining cards, little baby shinies that we don't really care about, the Pokemon. It's actual EVs, and there's actual, rabid EV fans out there that will claw each other apart to get these boxes. So, it's doing phenomenal stuff. Right now, I think...
But to be honest, I think that as people mature, as they get older, and as they mature, they would understand that it is not something to hate, but something to maybe almost like learn from in the future.
Appreciate.
When you're young, when you're young, you're like, oh my God, this must be this guy. You get that really negative sentiment. I do understand that. And I mean, there are some people like, for example, Rock Sandy. So you might have heard of Rock Sandy, this current YouTuber. So he used to, when he was really young, I think he was really young, he used to be a big fan of my channel. And then there was a time with the Altaria stuff, he hated me. He think I was one of those emo scalper. But now I think as he started making content of his own, and then I think he kind of like subscribed back to me again. So I think So I mean, like I think you become more open minded as you get older. You become more mature, and I think that's why this hobby is so interesting because there's a lot of young people that are maturing, and as they're maturing, the money that they're willing to spend, how they see value is going to change, and I think that's the opportunity in the investment because there's so many people still waiting to mature. It's not like the sports card market, which is already very mature. And compared to sports card, Pokemon it's really small.
Very much so. It's one of the newest hobbies out there. I mean, honestly, with the Pokemon is the most successful IP like ever in existence. I mean, it's only been around since flipping 1995, 1996, and it's a higher I think value wise than Disney, than Hello Kitty, than was it Winnie the Pooh? All of them just significantly higher because of all the intellectual property it has and continues to make. But yeah, it's going to be always going to be sticky between the hobby people that just absolutely love Pokemon for Pokemon, don't even care about money or anything, and then people who make it a business and people who make it a money, an opportunity to make more money with. It's always going to clash, and there's always right in the middle. Right in the middle is always going to be people like Opossum Bud, people like all the people that make all the drama videos. They're always going to be those people just to jump in, like, okay, cool, I can make a new video about this whole drama stuff. There's always going to be that. There's always going to be a clash of people who are like, if you sell a Pokemon card, you're garbage. All that kind of stuff. It's always going to be the mentality. But
yeah, you're right, and a lot of the time, the content we see on YouTube or the content that a lot of content creator makes, it might be the personality on YouTube, but it might not be their person, real person.
They're putting on a facade. They're putting on a personality.
I talk about investment, but in this video, in this interview, that I do collect a lot of stuff as well.
And taking a bit of a break from the whole little script or whatever, I would like to kind of I know you don't have all your cards with you and everything, but I kind of wanted to ask you, what is your three things? What is your favorite Pokemon? A. What is your favorite graded card? B, that you own, and then C, what's your favorite set? So let's do Pokemon set and then graded card. So
Pokemon is Pikachu.
Okay, Pikachu. Okay, cool. Easy.
Yeah. Later on I will show you. Later on I might make a video using and I'll add a photo in, and that's basically my room, like my home room. I like my room at home, and basically I have a bunch of PSA 10 graded all Pikachu cards. So it's actually quite cool. I will post that up somewhere sometime.
I'm a big fan of Pikachu as well. Pikachu dressed in different outfits.
I got all of the ones there.
Oh man, but you got them at like $20 each or whatever.
Pikachu is definitely my most. I really enjoy collecting Pikachu cards because it's just so iconic, and I grew up playing Pokemon Yellow. Come on, red.
Red, yellow, yeah. Okay, so Pikachu, what's your favorite set?
Set Legendary Collection.
Okay, Legendary Collection. There you go. You already answered it. There you go. And then your favorite graded card.
Now, to be very honest, this one is going to be hard. If you're telling about which card I like the most, I think Munch Pikachu, the Black Label one, is going to be my favorite card.
Specifically the Black Label.
It's not the most expensive one I have, but definitely it's meaningful, and sometimes that's the thing about us collector. Sometimes we don't like to sell off stuff because everything that you have has a story, and when you look at that card, you have a story to tell, and the Munch Pikachu was the story where I knew this card was going to get released. It was first going to be released in I think October, September time, and then it got delayed. And then because it got delayed, it was delayed until December 2018. And I actually had a free time that weekend. So I booked a ticket. I flew to Japan.
Wow.
Yeah. And I flew to Japan. Actually, I flew to Japan with one of my secretary, and so both of us, we just kept on lining up in the. It wasn't even a line. You can just go into the museum. You just pay a ticket. Yeah. You walk in the museum. You walk out. They give you the card. They have like white glove, and they just hand you a card. And yeah, and I was prepared. I had my binder and my sleeve, and just sleeved it in every single one of them. So I got a bunch of them at, you can call it MSRP, which is the price of the
ticket,
museum ticket, the exhibition ticket. Yeah. So yeah, and then I saw a lot of people kept it. A lot of Japanese people, they kept it. It wasn't as crazy as the Van Gogh. There was no fight. There was no nothing. It was actually really nice. So the Japanese people, a lot of them put them in the wallet, like a collection. Oh, wow. There's no sleeve. I knew that moment that this card is going to be rare. Everyone if they're shoving it in the wallet, means no PSA 10 for them.
And how much was a Japanese ticket for the Van Gogh?
It was, let me convert that into US, $15.
$15. I think it's more value than $15 now, but that's phenomenal. That's phenomenal. That's a great story, and that's what I'm talking about. Like part of the card, it's not only, I would say 50% is what's printed on it and what it means to you, but also 50% is the release, the stories behind it. That's why the Kangaskhan, the parent and child event, that's why there's such a high price fight with that card, not only because it's super rare, but the story behind it. You had to be, a kid, and you had to have an adult or whatever, and you had to compete and fight against some other, son or daughter of the event. And that's just a phenomenal history behind Pokemon and behind just all the different trophy cards there are. And it just creates such an aurora, era, just like a glow around the card of just adding sweetness into a bow.
And that's the thing. It's not always how high the value of a card is. The value actually comes from the person. As a collector, as the person, this card might worth a lot to you. I have people coming to me saying, "Hey, collect Pokemon. Can you help me grade this card?" I'm like, "Yo, this is a batch up card. It's not even going to be worth it." But it's my childhood card. It's that sentimental value that people like to collect in Pokemon. I think that's what makes this an amazing hobby. Yeah. It's not about the money. It was never about the money.
No, but, and that's a huge. Well, sorry.
The money is the bonus. But,
the bonus, livelihood, whatever. But oh man, I just lost my train of thought. That's why in sports, it had a pretty rough lull period until recently. That probably because of crypto. I'll get into this side topic in a second, but that's why in sports and everything, it's just you saw like an uptick and then down, super down, up then super down, because there was no like attachment. You had players that they played really really good, but then they broke their ankle and their card is now worth $10. It was worth $500, now it's worth $10. You had this not connection or tie other than kind of like gambling. Okay, this lottery card could go up to $1,000. I could lose all my money. Let's just gamble, type of thing. Versus Pokemon cards, yes, there's that gambling aspect to it, but also you just have a tie to it. Like the Legendary Collection Mewtwo, like I have a tie to that. There's more of a deeper meaning, more of the artwork, more of the attraction of this card that just like Scott S. and Pratt has done as well. That he got very emotional when selling his 97 Pika trophies because he had such an attachment to those sets, such an attachment to certain ones of the cards. Like one of the first cards he bought, like major cards. And which is such an emotional thing, and I feel a lot of people in Pokemon have that. There are cards that are just so emotionally tied. Like I'll share this with you. I know people on the channel have seen it, but I love one of the trophy kind of events that, not trophy, but I guess prize cards was the Art Academy set, and so I got in contact with one of my favorite artworks. That's actually over here in my background. Probably can't see because it's all blurred out. but I have this is a vet shield, so it's
Lily Chu.
Lily Chan. It's Lily Chan Pikachu. So this card, I just absolutely adored the artwork on it. It was like my favorite artwork, and if I was going to buy one, I was going to buy this one. And so I thought about it, like, oh man, I just want to reach out to the
it's a big purchase.
Yeah, a very big purchase. But I reached out to Diddy Moons, who's obviously the artist of Lily Chan Pikachu, and I was like, I love the artwork so much. I actually drew. I did this E4 Secret Santa, and I drew for my person her little Lily Chan. And it was, I'll send it to you later. I'll post it on the screen here. But I drew it for my Secret Santa because I draw sometimes or whatever, not very good, but I just draw the things that I really admire. And if you really want to admire an illustrator or an artist, try to draw their artwork. Try to draw, see the lines, see the fluidity with the artwork, and you really can kind of understand, like a connection-wise, their artwork. And so I sent to her, like, I really admire your artwork. I'd be over the moon if you would sell me one of your cards, because I could obviously go to the secondary market and buy it, but I wanted that connection. I wanted that, paying the artist.
You went to the original artist. And
so
100 copies, right?
Yes, 100 copies. And so she contacted me back. She said, "Thank you so much, illustration." Yes, I sell 2 a year. So I sell 2 a year. I'll put you down for. It was like a year and a half later. So I was like, "That's phenomenal. Thank you. I'll whenever it comes, I'll pay for it." So a year and a half later, she's like, "Hey, I'm selling a card. Here's the price." It was It was the price. I paid it. I was like, "Here you go." She said, "Cool." I also do for my, every one of my cards that I sell, I also do a little illustration of yourself with my Pikachu, whatever you want to do. I was like, you know what? I thought about it. I was like, okay, that's cool, but I think I just want you to illustrate yourself with your Pikachu. I think that would mean more to me than just drawing myself with the Lily Chan Pikachu, because I really care about the illustrator and the artist and everything. She's like, "Oh wow, I've never been asked that before." So she drew me this. This is the illustration that she drew for me.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's a really decent size. Wow.
Yeah,
that's cool.
So I'm very, very happy with. I got this from Diddy Moons. And even her signature is just super cool. Yeah. I know I'm not showing the camera's all blurred out, but like right here, they can see the camera. But
I can see it.
But yeah, so I got this.
First time seeing like a sketch like that.
Yeah, it's just absolutely. She did like the shading on herself. Like I said, she actually posted this on her Instagram because she has never, like I said, never drawn herself with her Pikachu before. And I'm just blown away. I need to get a new shield for it because this A was the wrong size, and B, they came with the wrong plug, so I can't even lean it back. It just falls over, so I got to get a new one. But I'm super happy that I got this.
We get it framed.
Yeah, 100%. You can see I actually just got a new artwork piece for my PC, you would say, for myself, and it's super dope. I found a illustrator on Facebook, and look at that. I posted this on Instagram. Look how badass this is. This is a Gyarados, and it's in this type of charcoal type of coloring, and it's I
really like the eyes. Like the eyes are
it's just so crazy. And this was an artwork piece that I just picked up. It was like $170. I picked it from this local artist. I was like, yeah, I'm buying that. And it's just so badass. You should see, I posted it on my Instagram. I did this cool sound because even his signature is pretty dope. That's his signature, but it's just super cool. For those people that are wanting a cheap frame, this cheap frame I got for $16. It's crazy. It was the difference between $16 and like $80 on like Amazon. But anyway, not to get too off topic, I will talk about now the question to me: what is my favorite Pokemon set and graded card? Pokemon will have to be Mewtwo. I absolutely love Mewtwo. I do have a warm fuzzy in my heart for monkey Pokemon. So Grookey, Thwackey, Rillaboom, obviously Mankey. My sister actually drew me this, a little Grookey. But for my, I think it was for a birthday or something. But I absolutely love Grookey, and that's like my favorite evolution. But Mew and Mewtwo are just badass to me. I just absolutely love it. Obviously, why I got the Legendary Collection.
Two Mewtwo's that I have. Do you know Hidden Fates?
Hidden Fates. Yeah.
I have 2 Black Label.
Wow. Look at that. Look at you with all the black labels. Yeah, I have 0 black. I want to possibly grade and possibly get a lottery ticket on one of those cards, but
because I don't usually send to BGS, to be very honest. I never, because I never really wanted to chase a Black Label, but there was a time when I just sent it, and I sent my first BGS Black Label attempt was the Hidden Fates Charizard, and it was amazing because I sent the Charizard and the Mewtwo, and they both came back as Black Label.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I was over the. I was like, oh my god, this exists. Because back then, Black Label was really rare. And then it was not until Hidden Fates when they started giving out a lot of Black Label at the Charizard. Mm-hmm. But I was like, my cert was like one of the first 2, and I was like,
wow.
Yeah, I was jumping up and
over the moon, I bet. But my favorite set, I'd say vintage and modern as well. So vintage, I would say Skyridge. Skyridge is just, the illustrations in Skyridge are just over the moon. Like the Crystal Charizard, it's like a cartoon Charizard. It's a phenomenal look. I didn't really get it until I saw it in person. I was like, okay, this is cool. Okay, this is pretty dope. Like I have strong, not regrets, but I sold the PSA 9 Charizard, Crystal Charizard for like 6.7, something like that, 6.5, which is a good card with a good price at the time. But I wanted to sell it to get a PSA 10, but I never went with a PSA 10 because it was like 15K, something like that. Yeah, exactly. And so I was like, oh man. So favorite set, like old vintage set, is that Skyridge, and then newer set. It has to be V-Star Universe. V-Star Universe is just phenomenal. All its artwork, it has just so much stuff inside of it. Even the box. I love Japanese boxes. Japanese boxes are just beautiful. And V-Star Universe has so much art in it. So much, like, if you're opening up a V-Star Universe, you're not going to get mad. Like, there's so much great art. You're going to pull up full art. You're going to pull a secret rare. You're going to... there's so much stuff to it. And I just absolutely love it.
Festival, the EV set you have behind you, is when you open it, it's gonna feel very reminiscent of that. Yeah. It doesn't matter what you pull, you're always excited. Every pack is excitement because you never know whether you pull your Master Balls or whether you're pulling a SDR. It's actually, I really enjoy opening that. So in the opening I have, I couldn't stop. I mean, even off camera, I see a box. It's been a really long time since I've that feeling. I just kind of
I would open that. I was my first box that I opened. It had the Grookey, not the Master Ball, but the regular Pokeball. I was like, yes! I was like, I pulled it. It's on my Instagram as well. I was like, yes. And so that's my favorite set. And then my favorite card. Kind of a tie between a lot of different things. One of my most sentimental card was actually this one. It's actually Himeno. So I went to an art exhibit, art event with Himeno in Hawaii. And this card was her, E4 actually hosted it. In the sense of helped out, facilitating everything. I actually got one of her original Shikishis. It's actually behind me right here. So this is the Shikishi by Himeno, and you can see on my Instagram, it's a beautiful, beautiful dragon that has like wings, and then it has like sparkles and everything. It's absolutely gorgeous. But I got that from her in the same event. I got a signed card by her. The funny enough, little PSA. This is actually this is the PSA population 1. Like, I'm the only one that's ever been graded as this event and everything, because there's not a lot of people there. There was maybe like 20 to 30 people there. So I sent it in for PSA grading. I was like, oh, I wonder if they recognize this.
They grade them too.
Yeah, they graded. I did like authenticity, and so obviously she signed it down there. But I forgot to show the back. The back's pretty cool too.
Yeah.
But anyway, so this card I absolutely love for sentimental reasons, and it's a tie between like 3 cards. One, Shiny Mew. Shiny Mew is absolutely beautiful. Coral
I see
Mew.
you also have a painting behind it.
Yes, I got that from Facebook as well. I get steals from Facebook. Has glitter on it. Absolutely beautiful, beautiful card. Beautiful art piece. I mean, it has. Oh my gosh. See if I can easily take this off. Yeah. The line work and everything. I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous. I mean, it's like perfect. And then you got the shimmer of the
like a layer of vanish.
Yeah. Man, it's absolutely beautiful. This is my all-time favorite card, or like I said, top 3 cards. And then, let me see if I can put this back. Oh, okay, cool.
Oh, works.
And then, and then
that's the thing I find Pokemon card is the reason why I think that like Pokemon will do better than sports. There was a time when I was debating, should I start investing in sports cards as well? And my conclusion is Pikachu doesn't die.
Yeah, Pikachu won't break his leg. Pikachu won't say a racial slur. Like.
And the thing is that you might grew up with like Michael Jordan, for example. But what happens when those group of people retire? What if they die? Like pass away? Like the kids, they don't know them. They only know like Stephen Curry. These kind of guys. So it doesn't matter. The Pikachu that your grandpa watched is the same as the grandkids watch. It's the same Pikachu. So
yeah.
And I think that's one of the reasons. And the second reason, like a lot of the artwork you have behind you, is I see Pokemon growing into art. Mm-hmm. It's no longer seen as a collectible piece, but rather an art piece in many of the cards, many of the more rare high-end cards. They consider it to be art. I think that's when things can really pick up. Art market, the value, it's value different to collectibles. I think that Pokemon has the potential to head into that way.
And you can see that with the artists. Obviously, I talked about Jimeno. She's been around Pokemon since like 1996, and since their inception, pretty much. And she's just such a beloved artist. And it was just so cool meeting her. Met her, talked with her, had a conversation. Obviously, we had a translator there. It was just such a cool event that I had, and shared with my wife as well. I have a picture on my Instagram. Me and my wife with her taking pictures. She's very shy. She holds like the painting up to her like face. She only shows her eyes. Yeah. But it was so cool. And then the tied with again these other 2 cards. I have pretty much a collector's chase, ultimate chase. They're Rayquaza, Gold Star, PSA 9. So I got that. Yeah, PSA 9. And it's actually the UK version. I don't know if you know the difference between UK version or the English version. It's if you have 2 Rayquaza Gold Stars right next to each other, this one's a lot darker. The saturation is a lot darker on this Rayquaza. And yeah, a lot darker, the saturation and the background color. There's like a whole E4 article about it. And I've had 3 Rayquazas now. A Gold Star Rayquaza, Gold Star Rayquaza PSA 8, Gold Star Rayquaza PSA 8.5, and then a Gold Star Rayquaza PSA 9. And so just the holo, just the chase after this card. Sorry, what's up?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I always go back to E4 when I wanted to see which original Japanese booster packs may be no rarity.
Oh,
they have a article on that. Every time, like, when someone asks me, I'm like, let me check. Long pack, short pack.
It is such a source, just a deep source of knowledge. Just so much articles, and I'm so glad that they, when they moved to the new E4 site, they brought all that with them, because there's so even on Gary King Pokemon, like some of his posts way back when was just so much knowledge and information from him that sold on not primetime television, but he sold those CD Charizard, CD Venusaur, Blastoise on the call in. He was like one of the first ones to grade PSA with those cards and in a large mass, a quantity. And he would go on those like television shows like, hey, this is a Pokemon Japanese card, graded PSA 10, the highest grade value. And he worked with someone to move them from Japan to America. And he was like one of the first ones like back in the day, like back in the day during like the boom.
Back then we have internet, but the internet was not used in this way. So there's no way to get these information. You know, I still remember as a kid, you know, I was still flipping a book, you know, those magazines, which tells you, ooh, first edition Charizard, $70. You know, you have to get, because I grew up in Canada. So
you grew up in Canada. Oh,
yeah.
It's funny. You have a connection with Scott, PFM. I don't know if you know PFM, but he's in Canada as well. He's the one who runs majority. He's the moderator on E4. He runs majority of the stuff, but he's in Canada as well. We always joke with him being in Canada. But that's cool.
I was a lot younger back then. I watched all the animes. I bought like magazines, and you know, I collected some cards back then. So yeah, back then all we can go off of is, you know, we go to like a bookstore Indigo or Chapters, and then we just flip through these magazines. We didn't even buy it.
But oh man, and then the final, again, this is like a three-way tie. The final card, it's a Japanese card. It's a trophy card. It is the Master Scroll.
Master Scroll.
So the Master Scroll is one of my all-time favorite cards.
PSA 10.
Yeah, PSA 10 Master Scroll. And so this just ties everything into like a bow for me. Being a trophy card, the ultimate. I think there is right now the population reports like 42, something like that, in total graded with CGC, BGS, as well as PSA. You know, I know a lot of people crack them or whatever, but it's like the total is like 83. Like 83's ever been graded in all those.
I was going to say, it's going to be like, usually they release like 100 copies, so it's always going to be.
It could be, some people predict it was a lot more than 100 copies, but there's no official guide. You know, with this, or official number, with this past year, with all the illustrators coming by, with all the King of Kongs coming by, like all these high-end cards, I'm like, where's the Master Scrolls at? Like where are they? People are like, oh, they're stuck in someone's closet, whatever. I'm like, where are they at? The newest cert
and the Master Key.
The Master Key, yeah, the Master Key is brilliant as well. I love the Master Key. A little bit too high for me to budget for a year.
Yeah.
And that's what I did with this Master Scroll. Like, I don't have just globs of money around. This is a lot of money to soak into one card. But I just absolutely adore the Master Scroll. I actually did a full-fledged video about the Daisuke fan club. Daisuke club of the different ranks, super rank, master rank, all the way up to, the master rank with the Master Scroll, and what all that you had to do to get this card, because it's not just a scroll that's shiny. It's all this stuff that people had to grind, bone, sweat, blood, and tears into to get this card, because you had to have 8,600 points to actually get this card. And you had to go to events, you had to compete, you had to be good at the game, you had to do all these things to gain the correct amount of points to cash in for this. And the Daisuke Club, it only lasted about 4 years, something like that.
That wasn't a time of the internet. You have to.
2010.
It's not easy to know where the event are hosted and stuff like that.
So I just absolutely love the story. It's more the story behind the card. People look at like, oh, it's a shiny card or whatever. But it's just the story makes up like 70% of that card. It really does. And I absolutely love, that's like my top of the top, creme de la creme of my collection is my Master Scroll that I have. And like I said, I did like a whole-fledged video on it, as do most people with their like grails that they get, and they like, oh, they analyze everything. But
and to be honest, I would say like sometimes it's good to share. It's not to flex, but to share, to let the world know that this card actually exists. That's the thing about us collectors. Sometimes, we keep everything. We look at it, but sometimes people don't understand the value of it because they don't know it exists. So sometimes you have to kind of show people that as well, right? So,
hey, this black label exists.
Later on, I think after the call, I'm going to send you some of these photos, and you can edit it in your video.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll show them. I'll show them around. But last topic I wanted to talk about, this is something that Scott does in his Patreon videos or whatever. We're going to do overrated and underrated that you feel that in the market right now, in Pokemon in general, what do you think is overrated and what you think is underrated? And we'll start with overrated right now first, and I can go first just to show you how. So one huge thing for me, overrated right now especially, is high population cards to me. Because yes, there's huge amount of demand behind them, but as you can, you were around the era when it's the Chespin or the Shaman card. Any Shaman card back in TCG was popping. It was a very, very popular card. It was a very competitive card. People were collecting it. People were putting so much money into these cards. It doesn't matter which one because it was so competitive. And then once the meta changed, once the popularity shifted, that card is just in the dollar bin now. And you can see this in a lot of different areas. I mean, we could talk about Japanese too. The popularity, everything was just focused just solely on Japanese, solely on this. And then when something took its spotlight, poof, it just the ladder fell below the card. So you can see there's a lot of money to fall from. I know this is the easy one to pick on, but the Umbreon VMAX, there's a lot of room to fall down. There's that $2,000. It's a lot of capital to put into a card, but there's a lot of room that it can fall. And most cards in like a boom or in a period of time that it's overhyped, fall by large percentages, especially if it was overhyped for a long period of time. And you can see that with a lot of, like, obviously Van Gogh, Pikachu, huge popularity. But man, I'm telling you, once that popularity shifts, obviously Pikachu's always going to be popular, so that's maybe a tick in the right direction. Like, okay, this one's going to be valuable. But man, high population cards, it is the more high pop you get, the more volatile it becomes, because once volatile, or in the sense of how sticky the price is, because the amount of them on the market and the amount of them that are graded, they are, once the price goes up $10, $15, whatever, they're like, oh, I'll sell. Once it gets to a price or a mentality of like, oh, it'll come down, oh, it'll go up, whatever, people will sell. And it won't be like, oh, it'll be boom like this much, or boom, it'll be this much. It'll be a slow decline, or it'll be like, oh, I gotta sell now, panic type of thing, because everything was built up. So for me, overrated was high pop cards. Did you have anything to add to that?
In general, I mean, you're right, this over pop card, but at the same time, I would just say is any graded card.
These are all, everything's going to zero. It's all raw prices.
The idea of graded cards, it's a good concept. I mean, grading cards, you put it in this, but to be very honest, all graded card can be volatile. I look at a card for its value, not its grade. So, for example, if you look at a Umbreon or a Moonbreon, if it was a $500 card at release, but when you grade it, it's 5 times more. That doesn't make sense to me sometimes, and because of that, I mean, if the card is already high in value, I believe that grading it just encapsulates it, maintains its value, kind of thing. Does that?
Yeah.
So, if I'm saying what is kind of like overhyped right now or overpriced right now, I think a lot of single cards would definitely drop back in price.
Single cards, like modern single cards,
but definitely modern.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen it time and time, and I have actually, gotten hurt by it. The Vivid Voltage King Pikachu.
Oh yeah, that card was popping back in the day, and I even got a Vivid Voltage Rainbow Rare Pikachu, and I got it for a steal at the time for like $250, $300 or whatever, and now it's barely breaking $200, barely breaking $180.
You got the better one. You got I got the full art one.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You did a video on this. That was hard to watch.
I spent $600 each on a PSA 10. So I spent like $1,800.
Womp womp.
It didn't want to look at it anymore.
Just get these away. I'll just write off a business stuff.
But yeah. So I think like that's why I'm not buying graded cards. I either grade the cards I want myself, or I'm not buying graded cards. It's so overrated right now.
Yeah, and you have people like Rattle that don't grade cards at all for the same type of thing. But I mean, if you look at any other hobby, and this is just I guess I don't want to counterpoint or whatever, but with other hobbies like coins and cards, other sports cards or whatever, there's always like Mickey Mantle is always going to be the PSA 10 is always going to be the most valuable, even compared to Raw. So, but anyway, like I said, I don't want to compare or whatever. But
I mean, you could argue it's creating a rarity, right? The card is there, but it's different grades create a different level of rarity for the value, but that value it's determined by what the everyone is deciding. So it can fluctuate a lot. So
and it's very scary. It's very scary to look at a Duraludon VMAX alternate art and say, oh, this has the exact same pull rate as an Umbreon VMAX with a price of $1,000 versus $20. So it's very scary to look at that like, wait a second, there's the same amount of Duraludons out there than Umbreon VMAXs. And so it's kind of scary to look at that and to like, oh wow, this really, and you can really see the downside effect of that. But
nevertheless, I would say that overpriced is a term I use if I'm investing.
There you go.
But overpriced is not a term I use when I want to buy it into my collection. I don't care what price it is. I just want to buy it. Because there's value to me, right? The value is my personal value. So yeah, I mean, some people are like, oh my god, you're buying that Pikachu at that price? Yeah, but I really like,
I really like it.
In investment sense, it is, I would say overpriced is a thing, but if you really love that card,
there's no like people say, also people high up in the hobby or whatever say that you can never overpay for a trophy card. Or you can never overpay for like an Art Academy card or whatever because there's so limited amount of those out there that it doesn't matter. There's only at any given time 3, 2.
You either buy it or you don't buy it. There's no.
Yeah, there's no like, oh, I want to come down in price. Oh, this sells at an MSRP over here. Oh, at an MSRP of a Chespin Art Academy. Oh, what is that? All that kind of stuff, all that garbage. But
also later on, I'll send you a really rare card I have. I picked it up years ago. Do you remember XY Evolutions?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, they have staff card pre-release.
Staff cards. Oh yeah, the staff card Charizard.
I have the staff Charizard.
Wow.
Graded at PSA 10.
Not BGS Black Label.
No. No, but the interesting part is signed by Arita with a sketch of Charizard.
That's nice. Is it dated? Personalized?
It's not dated.
Oh, it's not dated or personalized? That's nice.
It's not non-personalized. It's signed by, but the autograph grade was 9. I bought that. I didn't go to the event. I bought that, and I bought it from a guy in the States, and it's really sentimental. Like I love how there's always stories. So so basically back then there was a government shutdown, so the U.S. government didn't have money to pay their worker or something like that. Because,
okay, like a strike.
It wasn't a strike, but like a financial thing. I think when Donald Trump last came on. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So, and then he had to pay his bill, and I was like, "Oh wait, you have a card to sell?" And he sold it to me for $3,000 US.
Wow, that's nice.
PSA 10 staff Charizard.
Whew.
Yeah. So and he kind of said that please take good care of this card. It kind of felt to me like when you're playing the Game Boy game, when you trade a Pokemon with someone, please take care. I'm like, oh my god, that's so sentimental. And you are watching this video. I still have his card. Don't worry, it's locked up in a safe.
There you go. And one last thing before we close it off is underrated. And for me, underrated right now, any Japanese card. Any Japanese card for me is a holy, Like underrated. For me, totally underrated. Like there's still people today say like, oh man, in English is so much more valuable, but man, I love the viewpoint. I love the look of the Japanese card. Like I've done a showcase on my Instagram. I showed a Gengar VMAX alternate art English and showed a Gengar VMAX alternate art Japanese, and it's crazy. It's like it's like the filter on Snapchat of Sierra or whatever. It's like an orange. It's like an orange-yellow tint, and you can clearly see that in the. I would push you to go on my Instagram and look at some of my posts. Okay. But yeah, it's crazy. And you go to the Japanese, it's so much better. It's just beautiful. It shines. It has more depth on it because of the texturing and everything. And so anything Japanese, honestly, to me, is underrated. And if I had a lot more capital just to throw to the wind, I'd be buying it up. I'd be buying all the, and especially PSA 10 Japanese in Japan, because they're already in there. There's no risk. It's already PSA 10. It's already it's already graded PSA 10, and it's already at a crazy good price. So just buy it, hold it, whatever. That's what I did with a lot of the other cards that I have, not to sell, but just to hold for maybe long term, whatever, because I just got it at such a good deal. So to me, any Japanese card, as well as any high-end card, because just like some of the trophy cards, they're going for crazy cheap prices nowadays because everyone's just so focused, and not nowadays, but in the past year, because everyone's just so focused on modern. How can I take this $50, flip it to $100, flip it to $200? Because some people would argue, putting 10 grand, 15 grand into a card is not the best thing to do if you want to grow that money type of thing. But there's no, there's no viewpoint toward 5 years, 10 years in the future. Because if you have 20 of these cards, if no one wants to sell, no one wants to sell. And if no one wants to sell underneath $50,000, the price is going to be $50,000. So there's a double-edged sword on that, because it's a large amount of capital and opportunity cost with that. So, but yeah, to me, Japanese cards and high-end cards are just solely underrated, and I'll throw it to you for underrated as well.
I think like for underrated is a lot of the graded Japanese Pikachu or the Munch, those kind of promo cards are underrated right now. That's what I believe, because it grew. Don't get me wrong, it did go up in price, but that was from the last boom. Now, if you match it to the current Umbreon, Moonbreon, a Munch Pikachu PSA 10 is selling for $2,300 US.
Yeah.
A Umbreon PSA 10, 2,000. I don't know.
What are you gonna pick?
Who's gonna buy?
A card that came out 2 years ago, or a card that came out 6 years ago, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. A card that you can still, there's tons of booster box still listed there versus that. I think that there will be an adjustment. Those are undervalued cards, and there will be an adjustment in those special promos. If you look at Boss Pikachu, I know there's some movement in the Gavas. If you try and value them, you realize, wait a second, why am I spending money on a PSA 10 English modern card that's been released?
It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. Like Surging Spark Melodic, $150. Surging Spark is bound to get a reprint. There's no way that.
I don't understand it. I don't understand it, but people are gonna do what people do, and they're gonna throw their money at whatever they can throw money at. I know knowledge, it's in my head. You know knowledge, it's in your head. The best thing we can do is share our knowledge through our little cameras, and hopefully it impacts hopefully it impacts someone. Like, hey, maybe it's not a good idea. Hey, it's maybe not a good idea to buy a Umbreon VMAX PSA 10 for $2,000. Maybe you spend that money on some other great card, And maybe that could be a terrible take. In 5 years, it could be $15,000. I don't know. But to my knowledge and to my experience, it's a dumb thing to do. But, who am I? Who am I to doubt the EV collectors and the Umbreon collectors to throw money to the wind to burn? I don't know.
And I wouldn't want to call Umbreon VMAX PSA 10 overvalued, but in relative to the Japanese, I would definitely call the Japanese.
I want to get that card. It's $1,000. I think it's $1,000. I need to get that card soon.
Roll it.
What's up?
Roll it. Which one?
Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking about the Umbreon VMAX PSA 10 alternate art.
no, in Japan is also expensive. The Japanese version is also
Yeah,
expensive.
but it for a long time it used to, because it comes from EV Heroes, and there's solely low print of that that I feel it's undervalued right now comparatively to the English Umbreon VMAX Ultra.
I don't know its PSA 10 price, but if it was lower than English or similar to English, definitely gets a Japanese version.
Yeah, it's like $1,200. It's like $1,000 to $1,200. Yeah,
and that's like half of English. Almost
that's, look it up, man. It's crazy. I'm like, oh my gosh. Anyway, I have the no. I have the other evolutions. I have the evolutions that it's Chinese cards. It's the evolutions that came in the ultra premium collection boxes that has the Flareon, Vaporeon, and Jolteon.
Yeah.
The full art VMAX, whatever. That were trophy cards in Chinese. I got those in like PC 10s, and I got them specifically because they were a cheaper version to see the Japanese texture, because the Japanese obviously is crazy with those cards because they were huge trap.
Chinese cards are printed in Japan.
Yeah, the same quality, all that kind of stuff. It's phenomenal.
So for those of you that haven't actually touched a Japanese versus English card, if you actually touch it, you'll realize that the texture is rougher and thicker on the English side. Some people like that. But in the Japanese side, it's much finer. I mean, some people say it's less texture, but it's actually a finer texture. So when you shine it in the light, it shines a little differently.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and the main card that gets me every single time with the texturing is the Celebi alternate art in Japanese, the promo. There's so much depth to that card, and it's just, I don't know if you ever held one in person, but it's just absolutely beautiful.
I think the one with like a little.
It's all snow. Yeah, it's all snow and everything. Yeah, just beautiful card. But anyway, hey, Collect Pokemon. It's been 2 hours and 15 minutes, 16 minutes. I very much appreciate your time and willingness to come on and talk the knowledge that you have acquired over the many years, and just have a good kind of fun conversation about your business, my business, the world of collecting shiny children's cardboard. And just having a human interaction, that I cannot just talk into a camera, that I'm actually talking to a camera, talking to you. So I very much appreciate your time and effort into all this. And I will, I'll see you possibly in the future. And I look forward to your YouTube videos as well.
I would like to do some traveling in the summer, so I might actually head down to the States. But thank you so much, Slade, for having me. It's a great conversation. And I was not expecting this much of a in-depth conversation, and it's just really fun. It's because a lot of people see me as an investor, but like if I can talk to a collector, I can show them what I collect. I have actually go collect Pokemon.
I swear, I'm not evil. Oh man, but again, I very much appreciate your time and effort into all this. And for everyone watching, thank you for watching. And make sure to like and subscribe, and subscribe to Collect Pokemon. I'll link his channel in the description. He has a lot of knowledge, and he's located in Hong Kong and everything. And he's just a great person to listen to, with all the collection and everything, the insights that he has and everything, especially in the Japanese market. So head over to his channel, check him out, and I'll see you guys in the next one. See you guys later.